Hello magical family, welcome to today's tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to perform a year ahead divination so you can practice divinatory magic and see what's in store for the year ahead of you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Galena Stormrider, one of your magical guides here at Simple Mystic Miracles. If this video seems up your alley, go ahead and subscribe to our magical channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video from us. Practicing an annual year-ahead divination is a great way to heighten your intuition while also getting into the habit of practicing regularly. To prepare yourself for this reading, go ahead and light some candles, set the mood, clear your mind space, and keep a journal on hand. Journaling as you practice divination for yourself is going to be a great tool so you can clarify the messages you're interpreting and also so you can check back to see what worked out and what didn't. Your journal can also be used for automatic writing during your divination session, and there are so many divination tools you can use in order to practice this annual year ahead spread, but I'm going to be focusing mainly on tarot and dice for this video today. Let's get into it. Starting with tarot, I'm going to be pulling a card for every month in the year. You can also do a card for the theme of the year overall. So I'm going to be showing you some examples of how these cards can be interpreted and also showing you how to do a month by month. So as the theme for our overall upcoming year, we have here the 10 of Pentacles. This is a super welcome sign. I would interpret this as you having everything you need, a year of abundance, a year of having a lot more resources to play with, and overall having all of your needs met. And I'm going to be pulling a card for each month and then explaining some of them. So let's go ahead and do a card for January, please, Spirit. Okay, and this one wanted to turn around, so we're going to take that. And a card for February, the 5 of Cups in reverse. See for March. Alrighty, the 8 of Pentacles.
For April, please. The 4 of Cups. For May, please. For June. Alrighty. This is making sense to me, y'all. Let's go ahead and pull for July. We have here the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And let's go ahead and pull for August.
And when cards fall out, definitely take them. Some people are like, oh, what if I drop the cards? Trust that if it falls out for a reason.
So that was for August. Let's go ahead and get a card for September. The Emperor. October. Judgment in reverse. November. The Devil, and one last one for December, the Sun in reverse.
And then we have the 10 of Swords in the bottom of the deck, and the way I'm interpreting this is that the reading is over. We have all the information we need, so I'm going to go ahead and put this deck to the side. You can be a little generous with your time predictions, so I always interpret the first 6 cards as things that are likely to happen in the beginning of the year. I interpret the last 6 cards as things that are likely to happen more towards the second half of the year or the end of the year. So starting off, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse and the 5 of Cups in reverse directly following after it. So you might be really worried about getting some sort of offer early in the beginning of the year. That's how I would interpret that. However, with this 8 of Pentacles in March, we see you really working through it. Regardless of whatever that outcome is of that Knight of Cups, we see you really being determined, being strong. The 8 of Pentacles is all about hard work. The 4 of Cups right next to that for the month of April speaks to sometimes boredom, sometimes a lack of excitement, sometimes working making us feel a little stretched thin and a little dissatisfied. But the month right after that, we have the Hanged Man, which is all about a changed perspective. And in the 4 of Pentacles in reverse, that is all about letting go. The 4 of Coins often depicts someone holding on to their coins really tightly, not wanting to let go. And so whatever you were worrying about in the beginning of the year, I can see that your perspective has really changed and you've decided to release it. And that makes a lot of sense because of all this abundance you have throughout the year. I can see that you working on your detachment from the outcome is going to lead you to a lot of material security. And with this Devil card, the Devil speaks all about detachment in the upright in a positive interpretation. I want to let you know I'm using my intuition here. You are going to be using your own intuition in order to interpret these messages. I'm using my own discernment of understanding the full context of the situation to know that the Devil in this situation is speaking to detachment, especially because in the month of October, we have you here kind of struggling with some inner judgment. Maybe you're worrying about lost time you spent worrying over this thing you couldn't have, and then the month after you have this sense of detachment and you've forgiven yourself. And in the Sun in reverse, we can see here your energy returning. In the second half of the year with this Emperor card, you're also taking control of your life. You're over the dwelling, you're letting it go. And I can see with this Ace of Cups and Queen of Pentacles in reverse, you're turning that energy more towards healing yourself, more towards being productive, doing what you can do, controlling what you can control. And by the end of the year, I can see you really feel like you're on top of things. Even though there was some disappointment in the beginning of the year, more towards the end of the year, I can see that this person, this hypothetical person that we're reading for, I can see that they are really growing in their sense of feeling capable, really growing in their sense of feeling like they can do something about their situation, as opposed to feeling like life is happening to them all the time, and engaging in pleasure in a way where they're allowing themselves to feel joy and find happiness in other places, even if this one thing that they really wanted doesn't pan out. This could also be that this person does get what they want in the beginning of the year, but then once they start working on it, this opportunity or this relationship or what have you, it actually doesn't bring them the fulfillment that they want with this Four of Cups in the first half of the year. So later in the second half of the year, they learn to move on and realize that they are in control of creating their own happiness, and that's going to come from self-love and self-fulfillment as opposed to getting fulfillment from outside sources. So that is my interpretation of these cards for the year ahead. Now I'm going to be showing you how to do the same thing with dice. And this is a Dungeons and Dragons dice set because I am a huge dork, but I use these. I started out with 2 regular playing dice, however. The way that I found easiest for me to practice divination with dice, I would assign them to the astrological houses. So each sign of the zodiac exists within a house, and each house kind of covers a different theme. So you don't have to remember these, but I have them written down, and I highly recommend writing all of these things down. So the first house is the house of self. It could also be associated with the sign of Aries, since Aries is the first of the zodiac. The second sign is the house of material possessions, associated with Taurus. The third house is the house of communication, associated with Gemini. The fourth house is the house of the home, associated with Cancer. The fifth house is the house of pleasure, associated with Leo. The sixth house is the house of health, associated with Virgo. The seventh house is the house of partnership, associated with Libra. The eighth house is the house of transformation, associated with Scorpio. The ninth house is the house of expansion, associated with Sagittarius. The 10th house is the house of the career, that is associated with Capricorn. The 11th house is the house of humanity, which is associated with Aquarius. And the 12th house is the house of the unseen or the subconscious, and that is associated with Pisces. So I would use 2 regular playing dice, and I would roll them together. The number on each die I would associate with a house, and I would also associate the reading with the house that they would make combined. So for each month of the year, I would roll both of my dice together. And for example, if I rolled a 3 and a 5 together, making 8, I would think that there would be communications in the house of pleasure. So there could be significant communications in your love life, and that could lead to the house of transformation. So I would associate this communication being transformative to your relationship. So your relationship might go from casual to romantic because of this communication, or maybe that relationship is over because of this conversation or communication. Use your intuition to discern which one it is. There's always going to be multiple ways of interpreting divine messages, but you can also clarify using one of your dice as well. And the way that I do that is using one of the 6-sided die, and I interpret the first number 1, as yes or soon, number 2 as no or probably not, number 3 as the answer is subject to change or nothing is set in stone yet, The number 4 with only if adjustments are made. The number 5 is associated with time being needed, so sort of a not right now. And number 6 with the message of stay hopeful and detached, meaning spirit does not want you to cling too hard to the outcome, but they want you to keep your faith in the situation. Now I'm going to show you how I use dice divination now. I've had quite a lot of practice and my process is a little bit more complex. Dice divination can be as simple or as complex as you want it. You could even just use one die to get yes or no answers and use the odd numbers as yes and the even numbers as no. And that's simple enough, and if that works for you, that's absolutely perfect. However, I am really extra, so I'm going to go ahead and walk you through an example reading so you can see how I would interpret things for the month of January using all 5 of these dice. Alrighty, so what matters most is that you create a method and stick to it. So write it down. I use this D4 or 4-sided die for influential elements, and it landed on the number 2. And I've associated 2 with the element of fire or wands. I interpret this 10-sided die, which landed on the number 1, with the stage of the minor arcana. So this is a new beginning, and I would associate this with aces. And so far we have the Ace of Wands, which is a strike of inspiration or a new start, some sort of new idea. Then we have on D6 a 1, which is associated with yes or soon. So I can definitely see that this would happen. 1 also being associated with the month of January. I could see this happening really soon in the beginning of the year, or this idea coming on very quickly. Then we have D12, which is associated with zodiac signs and houses, as I explained earlier. And so my 12-sided die right here is on the number 2, which is the house of material possessions, also associated with the sign of Taurus. So I'm interpreting that this new idea could lead to a lot of abundance in my material possessions or material wealth. Lastly, I use this 10 die, or 2d10 as it's called. This die has increments of 10 on it, and it's landed on 80 out of 100. So I'm taking this as manifestation progress. Whatever I'm trying to manifest in my career, this idea will help me get to 80% in this manifestation arc. And I'm not too attached to this one, I'll be honest. I think it's a little bit of a fun confirmation, especially if you feel like you are getting close to your manifestation, you feel it's upon you. Getting a high number really helps. Some people also interpret this as difficulty level, so the higher the number this is, the more difficult your manifestation might be to attain, but I don't want that to discourage you because the difficult things in life are usually the things that are worth doing. So that is how I do year ahead divination. The most important thing is that you stick to your own method. This method is one that I created, but I took little bits and pieces from other methods I've seen and things I've resonated with in the past and sort of created a system that really works for me. Your personal relationship with divination is always going to work the best for you because it's perfectly tailored to your needs. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining, and if this video resonated with you, be sure to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Check out our description below for more tips and tricks, as well as our blog and other magical goodies to help keep you inspired. I'll see you in the future. Bye!